In the world of professional motorsports, there is absolutely nothing like the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. This series, which feeds into the NTT IndyCar program, has scholarships for drivers at every level. You win USF 2000, you win a scholarship to go to Indy Pro. You win Indy Pro, a scholarship to run Indy Lights. And if you're an Indy Lights champion, you'll find yourself with $1.25 million to try your hand at the NTT IndyCar Series. Tonight, in the TireRack.com Road to Indy Series All-Star Invitational, this invitational race, this inaugural event, we're going to see stars that have worked their way through the ranks over the last 10 to 15 years. Folks, my name is Rob Howden. Welcome to Worldwide Technology Raceway here in Madison, Illinois. And I'm joined in the booth by Peter Mackay. Peter, this is going to be a fantastic night of racing here. We got a doubleheader, two 20-minute races, single car qualifying, but the names of the drivers that we were able to come to this all-star event, absolutely unbelievable.
It's absolutely fantastic to be here and to be a part of this all-star event. We had an incredible TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries, the regular season, if you like, 5 rounds across all kinds of different circuits. But today, the top 5 from our Road to Indy eSeries get to go up against, well, a little bit of a star-studded alumni, Rob.
Yeah, we look at some of the guys that have come through here. You think about the champions we've had, like Gabby Chavez, 2014 Indy Lights champion. Oliver Askew, 2019 Indy Lights champion. You keep going through the champions from Indy Pro 2000, an Aaron Tielitz, Spencer Piggott with a couple of championships. Just an unbelievable field. We'll, of course, go over them throughout the evening.
We will indeed, yeah. Of course, they've all gone on to fantastic things in, like you say, in IndyCar, but sports cars too. You know, Tristan Vautier driving, in fact, got on the overall podium at the Rolex 24-hour at Daytona just a month or two ago.
I think that's the key. We've been able to develop the talent. Not only goes to the NTT IndyCar Series, but also eventually finds its way into IMSA sports car racing and other different avenues in the motorsports world. But folks, this racetrack is a tough one for sure. Worldwide Technology Raceway. We'll talk a lot more about its intricacies throughout the evening. But right now it's time to go back, as we have throughout the E-Series, to Greg DeGeorgis from Symmetric Driver Performance Labs with tonight's Keys to the Race.
Thanks, Rob. As the proud official simulator partner of the Road to Indy, Symmetric Labs is proud to be bringing you this final edition of our Keys to the Race. With this week's All-Star Invitational, drivers have virtually traveled to St. Louis to take on the Oval at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. As a mid-sized oval, we'll see average lap speeds nearing 150 miles an hour, which will make for some tight and dicey racing, especially with tonight's mixed field of high-profile drivers. been a major facet for every single Road to Indy eSeries event this year, but it'll be just as crucial as ever for drivers to keep their noses clean and survive all the way to the checkered flags. While drivers will be getting 2 fast repairs tonight to keep them in the action after a wreck, making up positions due to the time lost in a wreck will be really tough, so it'll be important for drivers to establish early how risky they want to play tonight and then stick to their plan. Having personally developed this setup with input from a number of drivers competing tonight, I can tell you that it will require a lot of focus from drivers to extract fast lap times. While succeeding on an oval like this in iRacing is usually a matter of just maximizing drafting, timing passes correctly, and a fair bit of luck, drivers who can consistently get 100% out of this car will have an advantage on their competitors. Lastly, drivers really have their work cut out for them tonight. With this being a single standalone event tonight, no one needs to really think about a long-term championship strategy. And with a high-profile list of drivers competing, everyone will be eager to impress and claim bragging rights. There's no holding back tonight. Go big or go home. More than any other event in our TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries season this year, I cannot wait to see who comes out on top. Back to you, Rob.
Thank you very much, Greg, and I'm with you. It is go big or go home. This race tonight, all about bragging rights. Back trackside, the drivers are getting ready for single car qualifying, so let's head to IndyCar Ministry Chaplain Chuck Lessick for the invocation, followed by the national anthem.
Let's pray. Lord God, we thank you once again just for the opportunity to get together and do some iRacing. And we just ask that this event be a blessing to everyone involved. Tonight, as we've got the All-Stars coming back, we just ask that the competition be fierce yet fun. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
So, we buy shoes online, and socks, and shoe socks, and baby food, dog food, parrot food, gardening tools, art supplies, college classes, scarf, the scarf tube, sleeping bag suit? Yeah. So why not buy tires online? TireRack.com is North America's largest online retailer of tires. Find, buy, then have them shipped to one of our trusted independent installers for safe, easy installation. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. Online, with all that other stuff.
I had said before the invocation and our national anthem that we were going to have single car qualifying. Our race directors have elected to go to open qualifying, so the drivers on the racetrack right now for an open 5-minute session to be able to put down their fastest lap, which will set the grid, of course, for the first of 2 races in the doubleheader this evening. Peter, let's first kind of jump in here and talk about which drivers are actually here with us. Not only do we have a number of our Road to Indy graduates who have came through in USF 2000, Indy Pro, and Indy Lights. We also brought in the top 5 drivers from the TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries, so some very talented drivers. Also the winner of the WK AMAX Racing eSports Series, Dean Dibdahl, who was so impressive running against our Road to Indy drivers. We've brought him into the Invitational as well. So really this is the Road to Indy, past, present, and future.
It's absolutely fantastic to see, and of course we've got Peter Dempsey with us as well. You can see him there on camera, the number 3 car. And of course, Peter, a Road to Indy graduate, 2 years in Star Mazda many years ago, and 8 Formula Ford titles. I mean, I don't know of anyone who has more Formula Ford titles than that.
Well, I'm a huge fan of the Formula Ford program, and again, that was solid for him as we see a couple drivers having some issues on track during his open qualifying session. Peter, of course, as we said, won the Star Mazda Championship, which is now the Indy Pro 2000, the same equivalent. Of course, one of his probably the most famous win for Peter Dempsey coming at the Freedom 100, Peter, in that 4-wide finish where he came from 4th all the way around the outside to take that win.
And of course, the Freedom 100 is just such an important race, isn't it? To get out there on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway proper just shows you that he had the full set of skills that Peter. And well, what do we know it? He's up there on pole position right now.
Yeah, Freedom 100, of course, canceled for this year. We're all crossing our fingers that one day we'll get the Indy Lights drivers back on for that Carb Day Classic. Indeed, Peter Dempsey, fastest driver on the racetrack right now. You see a number of them having some trouble here on cold tires. The setup we have, these drivers have to be very ginger getting around this racetrack because, Peter, it's a little bit different. 11 degrees of banking in turn 1 and 2, but a lot tighter radius of a corner. Whereas they roll down the back straightaway into 3 and 4, it flattens out to 9 degrees of banking, but a much wider arc through that particular part of the racetrack.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I think Greg DeGeorge's got it spot on. You've got to have really big guts to get the most out of this track. You're carrying, even in these Indy Pro 2000 cars, you are carrying such big speed into the corners, and it actually a little bit like turn 1 at Indy. You're looking, you're going, am I going to fit through there? I'm not sure. it's a white knuckle ride, that's for sure.
You got to find your lane and stay away from that curb on the bottom of the racetrack coming out of turn number 2. Just about 15 seconds left in qualifying. Peter Dempsey looking to put the car on the pole. Again, a oval master, as we know, from the Freedom 100. Also a team owner this year, both USF 2000 and Indy Pro 2000 cars under the Turn 3 Motorsports tent. So Peter has continued his racing journey into team ownership. Field now locking down. Mac Esterson with the second quickest time. We'll have a look at the grid here momentarily as our iRacing pace car rolling out to the front of this track, and we'll get these drivers set to go. Let's have a look at the grid. I think we're set to go here if we can pull that up because qualifying has been completed. And check it out, folks. Peter Dempsey on top of 31.070 fast time in the number 3. Outside of him, our Road to Indy eSeries champion Max Esterson, who will go run this year for Low Dempsey Racing, Peter's father in the British Formula Ford Series. That's your front row. Aaron Telitz, a champion in the Indy Pro 2000 category, a multi-time winner in Indy Lights as well. Telitz will run for Vassar Sullivan in the IMSA program this year, starting 3rd. Matt Clark, the young Canadian, the F1600 champion out of Campbellville, Ontario, Canada, starting on the outside of row number 2.
Starting on the 3rd row of the grid will be Michael Myers. Keep an eye out for Michael. He was super quick throughout the Road to Indy eSeries. Stephen Wilson will roll off from 6th with Spencer Piggott 7th, and Benjamin Pedersen in the Dirtfish car rolling off from 8th place.
Really strong qualifying effort for the driver who will make his Indy Lights debut this year out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Nate Aranda in the 069 for Juncos Racing, qualifying 9th. While R.C. Enerson, a driver who has I think 3 or 4 NTT IndyCar Series starts, a number of wins coming up through the ranks in USF 2000, jumped right over Indy Pro to Indy Lights and was able to get wins there as well. He'll run the Lucas Oil School of Racing machine. In fact, Enerson just being confirmed that could be running with Top Gun Racing this year in the Indianapolis 500. Finishing off the top 12, Dean Dibdahl, 13 years of age, the representative of the World Karting Association, backed by just over 0.3 of a second, the number 21 starting in 11th. And on the outside of row number 6, Nikita Lastishkin, the Russian-born driver living in Los Angeles. He'll make his Indy Lights debut this year with HMD Motorsports.
Anders Krohn will roll off from 13th position with Connor Daly, NTT IndyCar driver Connor Daly rolling off from 14th. Matt Brabham will start 15th, and Dalton Kellett will roll off last on the 8th row of the grid.
Daniel Frost will make his jump up into Indy Lights this year with Andretti Autosport, multi-time winner in the Indy Pro 2000 category out of Singapore in the number 68. Outside of that row, Gabby Chavez, 2014 Indy Lights champion with Bilardi Auto Racing, will race this year for Brian Herta Autosports in IMSA and the Pilot Challenge, Michelin Pilot Challenge. Excellent run for Chavez in that year. He won the championship in Indy Lights. into the sports cars now. Would love to see him back in the NTT IndyCar Series. Rounding out your top 20, your top 10 rows, James Davison will run 28 NASCAR Cup races this year with Rick Ware Racing. He'll start 19th alongside Bryson Morris, who finished second in the Road to Indy eSeries.
Devlin DeFrancesco will start from 21st on the grid alongside Oliver Askew, with Tristan Vautier and Sebastian Saavedra starting on row 12.
Moving a little bit further back to the final drivers in this race, I believe we have a couple. Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe we're going to wrap it up at the 24, as I said. Let's go right now then to present the Symmetric Pole Award. And that's, of course, going to go to Peter Dempsey. An impressive qualifying run for Peter Dempsey, starting on the pole in the Turn 3 Motorsports PM18 from Tatis. Peter, we're about set to go here right now. Drivers rolling their way down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. And again, folks, double header for you here. A couple of 20-minute races. Drivers getting one fast repair, so if they have an incident, able to come into pit lane, get it repaired, and get back out. But right now, we're getting ready to go racing. Again, Dempsey on the inside, Esterson on the outside, out of turn number 4, and we are racing. Green, 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 as they work their way across the start-finish line into turn number 1 for the first time. Dempsey and Esterson getting a little bit of an advantage. Good start there from Matt Clark as well. Professional drivers looking pretty good here early on, knowing that we did give them a little more grip. Oh, there's a driver in the wall a bit there, the 25. Stephen Wilson, Peter, a little wide coming out of turn 2.
Oh, and look at them going 3 wide down into turn 3. Goodness me, you've got to be a big trust in your fellow drivers there as well. Of course, on the sim, that peripheral vision not quite as straightforward as it might be in the real world. Of course, it depends on the setup the driver have as well. But tell you what, a little bit more calm than we had at Iowa a few weeks ago, Rob.
Matt Clark looking to the inside right now. Here, Peter Dempsey to take a look at the lead. We had the cars pretty trimmed out for qualifying. We gave them a little bit more wing here for the race. You can see the cars a little more stable coming through 3 and 4. Peter Dempsey, though, Peter, maybe defending a little bit to the bottom of the racetrack coming down the back straightaway.
Oh, he defended all right there. Big block there on Matt Clark. And look at Esterson now to the bottom. Is Esterson going to hit the front? It looks like he will do. Peter Dempsey up top as well. And oh, they're going at it early.
Little trouble there for Mike Myers. Michael Myers been around. I believe Michael Myers spinning further back there. Every other driver trying to make avoidance to get around him, but he went all the way around, had some trouble. A big tank slapper coming out of turn 2, and Myers not able to check it. He'll fall all the way down to the tail of the field. Up front right now, Dempsey, Wilson, Esterson, Aaron Telitz has worked his way up into 4th spot. He loses that spot right now to Matt Clark. Spencer Pigot's got himself into 6th. R.C. Anderson runs 7th. Benjamin Pedersen 8th, Dean Dibdahl 9th, and Connor Daly now up into the 10th position. 4 spots improvement for Daly, 8 spots up for James Davison. He currently runs in 8th. But look at this battle up front here. Peter Dempsey has got Stephen Wilson to the bottom of the racetrack. Wilson looking for a piece of the lead. Coming out here at turn number 4.
Look at Esterson looking for a route right through the middle of these guys as well. Matt Clark in there too. Telitz there too. Aaron Telitz up in 7th position. Spencer Pigot in there too. And dear me, I tell you what, these guys just sizing each other up right now in a kind of 2x2 formation, but don't expect that to last for long.
Wow, I love the look out of the back there. Here's the replay, and I believe we're going to see the tank slapper. You can see the trouble there. Yeah, there goes Michael Myers around. We'll slow it down a bit. Contact there behind him. That was Nikita Lastishkin with nowhere to go. Center punched the rear of that car. And again, we do have the fast repair, so they'll be able to get that done. How about 3 wide into turn number 1 and 2 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway? These guys are going at it. Dempsey, Esterson, and Stephen Wilson. They'll separate big time down the back straightaway, lining themselves up here for turn number 3 and 4. Again, a big wide arc coming through 3 and 4. As we said, gave a little bit more downforce for the race than we had in qualifying, Peter. This is the show we were looking for. These are all graduates from this Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires.
Oh, it's fantastic stuff, and I love the psychology of what. Oh, it's Benjamin Pedersen hard on the wall. He's taking James Davison with him. Contact with another driver there, and oh, that was a really big one. I wonder if that might call out the yellow, but no, we stay green for now. But wow, that was a big one.
You can see that Pedersen just had a bit of trouble coming into the corner, lost it, and skated up to the racetrack. And again, Davidson with absolutely nowhere to go. Riding on board here now with R.C. Enerson, who is in the 7th position, again a former winner in the Indy Lights program, and had some pretty good runs in IndyCar with Dale Coyne Racing. And again, hearing news that he could be at the Indianapolis 500 and other races this year with Top Gun Racing, of course, lead instructor at the Lucas Oil School of Racing, the program his father owns, runs tracks throughout the country. And again, we've got a lot of drivers who have come out of that Lucas Oil School of Racing into this road to Indy. Reese Gold being one of them, their champion this year. Eli Navarro coming to run with us. Drive-through penalty, though, for the number 14, Peter. There's an issue there for Aaron Thielitz getting the drive-through. Here's the replay, though, of the incident.
I think it might have, yes. I thought it was Aaron Thielitz. Yeah, Aaron Thielitz runs straight into the back of Benjamin Pedersen and James Davison. Oh.
Let's, you know what, if we can get one more shot of that, we can see we're watching on board there with Peter Dempsey and Dalton Kellett. I'd like to get another shot of that replay if we could. We can go another side shot, because I'd like to, now that we've seen it again, I'd like to be able to kind of give more of a synopsis of what happened, because Peter, I think you had it correctly, and we'll have a look at it again momentarily. They are 3 wide, working their way through 1 and 2, and again, there's contact,
huge.
Couple drivers together big, that's 29 getting together, that's Spencer Piggott, and collateral damage further back. A number of drivers involved coming out of that turn number 3 corner, and we had a big wreck there. Thielitz is one of the drivers into the wall, James Davison falling down the order, Bryson Morris, Matthew Brabham. No shot yet to see if we're going to go full course yellow. Here's the replay of the incident. Again, coming into the corner, indeed, Thielitz getting into the back of the gearbox of Pedersen, and really not much he could do there, Peter. As soon as he got in the back, broke that car loose, and poor James Davison just collected in the incident.
Yeah, absolutely nothing he could do. And that the subsequent wreck, I mean, huge wreck. Max Esteban claimed in that one as well, so there's going to be a lot of drivers taking that fast repair. So we've now got a kind of story of 2 races. Peter Dempsey still leading, Stephen Wilson in there, Connor Daly, R.C. Anderson, Matt Clark. And I'll tell you what, Matt Clark, he had such bad luck across a lot of the Road to Indy eSeries, Rob. Great to see him having a clean run here, just showing again the pace that he has. There's someone on the roof there.
Riding on board here with Connor Daly. He's got the Air Force colors of his Ed Carpenter racing machine on his Artatis PM18. Here's a replay of the incident coming out of the corner here, out of turn number 1 and 2. You can see the contact there between, I think it was Wilson. It looked like Wilson and Thielitz banged wheels, and Daniel Frost, one of the drivers involved there for sure. Anders Krohn, I think, caught up. Again, riding on board here with Connor Daly, the fast mover right now up into 9th position, but Dalton Kellett up 10 spots into 6th. What a good run for Dalton Kellett. And there you go there, the number 7 right behind as well. That's R.C. Enerson. He's starting to get aggressive. Enerson and Wilson, Peter, running P2, P3. They're going back and forth with each other here.
Absolutely, yeah, they are. Oh, nearly into the back of Peter Dempsey there, who just checks up slightly. My goodness me. And I have to say, you've got to love the psychology here, because you've got the young guys on the road to Indy, and you've got the guys who have reached Indy and various other professional motorsports. And I love that psychology. The young guys are probably thinking, these older guys, they think they're so smart. And also the older guys are thinking, right, let's come in here and teach the young guys a lesson. They're both half right and half wrong.
Stephen Wilson leading the way right now. A couple of wins in Indy Lights for him back in 2011. Was able to get a victory at both Toronto and Kentucky. A couple of starts as well in the Indianapolis 500 with Andretti Autosport. Finished a high of 15th back in 2016. Very similar livery on that car, but seeing some of the liveries these guys have. I love the Ed Carpenter Racing Air Force livery on the car of Connor Daly. You got to think what Connor's feeling like in the sim at home after that incident at Las Vegas on Friday night at the Truck Series.
Indeed, yeah, absolutely. I didn't see it, Rob, but I presume it was a big one.
Big hit, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't want to be in any kind of hit in a NASCAR truck, to be quite honest. But anyway, it's not putting him off. Down to the bottom line, he's taking a big run here. But tell you what, no matter what the guys behind him do, Peter Dempsey's got this really, really strong. But Rob, you've got to wonder if he's maybe just taking a little bit too much out of those Cooper tires too early.
Yeah, you wonder. We're 8.5 minutes, not even quite 8.5 yet into this 20-minute race, and look at this fight up front. What a tremendous scrap. Watching them come through turns 3 and 4. They'll roll back out onto the front straightaway. There is your lead group as they come across start-finish here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, this tremendous track located on the banks of the Mississippi River, just on the other side of St. Louis, Missouri, actually based in Madison, Illinois. Look at this fight, though. We've got 7 drivers in the lead pack. Ederson, Wilson, Dempsey, Clark, Daly, Dalton Kellett, and Tristan Vautier coming up here as well. The 2011 Indy Pro 2000 champion, 2012 Indy Lights champion. And Peter, I know you got a chance to watch a lot of Tristan's racing. Good example of a driver from the road to Indy, getting into IndyCar, but then still being able to have a career. Everything they learned on the road to Indy. Of course, Tristan now running with JDC Miller Motorsports in the IMSA WeatherTech Championship.
Exactly, and he's driving a prototype Cadillac. Oh, Daly comes across and starts a wreck. Oh dear.
I believe that's Daly and Wilson who got together. So Daly and Wilson, 2 drivers out of the lead group. Just some contact there, working their way down the straightaway, and that is shaking things up. 2 of our primary contenders for the win in the first end of this doubleheader here at Worldwide Technology Raceway out. That'll leave 5 drivers in the lead group. Ederson, Dempsey, Clark, Kellett, and Vautier. Indy Lights, F1600 for Matt Clark. Indy Lights for Kellett, Indy Lights and IndyCar for Vautier. Of course, Kellett and Ederson as well. In the IndyCar program, Kellett will run with AJ Foyt Racing this year. I love young Matt Clark in the middle of the Giants here right now as he tries to fight it out and get himself a race win.
Yeah, absolutely. And Matt Clark's again saying, you know, they don't call me Jimmy for nothing. It's like he knows how to do it. And absolutely fantastic drive so far from Matt Clark. And you know, he might be the youngest guy in this little group, but my goodness me, is he playing this smart. He's staying out of trouble, watching the guys in front, watching, to be honest, Peter Dempsey and R.C. Ederson really doing the heavy lifting, and he's just biding his time, keeping that little bit of extra life in those Cooper tyres as they come through down the it's a long straight here at Gateway. Well, of course, it is a facility that's well known for drag racing, of course, Rob, so that's quite appropriate.
Yeah, indeed, the NHRA does spend some time there as well, and the good folks at Worldwide Technology Raceway, Curtis Francois and Chris Blair and John Beachley, everybody at that facility among the absolute best. And of course, John Bomarito from the Bomarito Automotive Group, so instrumental in bringing the NTT IndyCar Series back and packing that racetrack. We got ourselves a tremendous battle here for sure. I'll tell you, one of the reasons why we wanted to put this program together was to bring our Road to Indy graduates, the pro drivers that we've developed over the last number of years, bring them together, but give them a chance to race head-to-head, and maybe give the opportunity to the young guys like a Matt Clark, who's scrapping it out here right now as well, or a Dean Dibdahl, a 13-year-old who has now worked his way up into 7th position in that number 21 machine. Dean Dibdahl having a tremendous drive here. But Dempsey still out front, the veteran driver, all those Formula Ford wins paying off so far. But here comes Ederson, Peter, into turn number 1 to the inside. Book it. Ederson back to P1.
Oh, you've had that one loaded up for the last 11 minutes and 44 seconds, Rob. I could feel it. I could hear it being prepared. Now, we must say about Dean Dibdahl, who is classified in 7th place at the moment, he was actually involved in one of those earlier wrecks. So he's got his car into pit lane, taken that spare car, the fast repair, and he's back out on circuit again. Fantastic.
Again, I believe 1 lap down for Dean Dibdahl, I think, right, in that 6th position, indeed. So really only 5 drivers remain on the lead lap, or 6 drivers, as we added Sebastian Saavedra there as well. We did have a bunch of incidents. So, there's a driver up into the wall there, too. We had someone get up into the wall. That might have been, I wonder if that was Dibdahl or not, but a driver having some trouble. Here's a good shot here, though, Peter, as we ride, looking out the back of Peter Dempsey's car, but also looking at him in the sim right now. Peter settling in this great battle here right now. And it was indeed Dean Dibdahl, I believe, into the wall. We're in 7th position, Peter. This first race not going the way we want for Dean Dibdahl. He'll fall to the tail of the field.
I tell you what, you look at that on Peter Dempsey's wheel. You look on that screen. I've seen very expensive race cars that have a lot more simple setup than that. I don't know what information is on there, but it looks complicated.
Well, Peter's got one of the guys that really enjoys the iRacing platform and sim racing. I know that the drivers he has with him at Turn 3 Motorsports, they do a lot of sim racing together, driving on track, both his drivers, Dylan Christie and Josh Green, James Rowe Jr. as well, who will make his Road to Indy debut this year in the Indy Pro 2000 category. But look at this fight, Peter. We're looking at around 6.5 minutes still to go, and this is just one of those gloves-off, mano-a-mano battles between R.C. Ederson, Peter Dempsey, and Matt Clark. Dalton Kell a little bit further back there now in the 4th position, but you mentioned it, and I like Clark right now showing a lot of patience here behind R.C. Ederson. We haven't seen a lot of patience from Dempsey. He's been kind of aggressive in his defense, but he's a veteran driver. These three drivers settling in right now for what will be the final 6 minutes of this first race.
And here he goes, pulling the pin is Matt Clark. Matt Clark to the front. Well, I was about to say book it there, but I would just be a copycat then, wouldn't I, Rob? I was close. Up the inside he goes.
Peter, you can take it for a spin anytime you want.
Okay.
I enjoy with it.
I'll need to think about. I'll need to have a bit of imagination and come up with my own one.
Matt Clark to the top of the racetrack, kind of chasing up a little bit there as Dempsey now goes into the bottom. Dalton Kellett coming back up here. Kellett's having a really strong run. Started back in the 16th position. He's P4 right now. They're having the early trouble, and Kellett's allowed himself to get into P4 here. And again, we'll see Dalton in his first full year of the NTT IndyCar Series running alongside Sebastian Bourdais and AJ Foyt Racing, a driver who was on the pole at the Freedom 100 a couple of years ago, the most starts in the Road to Indy. Here's a good shot of a couple more of our drivers. Peter Dempsey on the right, Michael Myers on the left. Again, Myers with that incident early on, able to get his fast repair. He works his way back up into the top 10. And I'll give you the top 10 while we watch these drivers battling it around here now. I believe Kellett actually trying to make a move now to the bottom. I think he's going to go into P3 potentially. Yeah, Kellett able to get by Clark. He'll go up into the third spot. Here's your top 10. Enerson, your leader. Dempsey runs second. Clark third. Kellett fourth. Tristan Vautier now fifth. Connor Daly in sixth spot. Seventh, Nikita Lastishkin. Eighth, Oliver Askew up 15 positions from 23rd to 8th for Askew. Stephen Wilson back on track in ninth, and Michael Myers rounding out the top 10. 4.5 minutes to go.
Oh, it's Matt Clark there having a big look down, very, very low there, but Peter Dempsey's got it covered. They've got Savandra in there as well. I think Nate Aranda as well. It's kind of two bogeys there. A couple of laps down from the earlier incident as Dempsey goes down low and takes the lead from Enerson. And Matt Clark's going to try and follow through as well. And whoa, look how tight Matt Clark was. Well, he's got big grip in that car. He's looked after those tyres. 3 wide. Oh, who's going to have it? Peter Dempsey goes, geez, these kids are crazy.
Yeah, Dempsey backs out of it a little bit. He'll go back to P3, and still Clark running that bottom line, as you said. R.C. Enerson leading the way right now. Enerson was the runner-up back in 2014 in the USF 2000 Championship and finished fourth in the Indy Lights Championship in the 2015 season, with a winner at Mid-Ohio. As I said, was able to come back and do a couple of events in the NTT IndyCar Series. Actually ran a race with Carlin as well at Mid-Ohio in 2017. Good scrap here. These guys are absolutely flat going at it, and they've all given each other room, Peter, and I think that's key. What we've wanted to see in this particular event, our All-Star Invitational, we wanted to see these drivers show their talents and be able to run clean, and that's what we've seen so far, especially up front.
Absolutely, and I tell you what, these guys are only given the absolute minimum of room, but they can do it because they're just, you can tell these guys are just so in control. Clark, Enerson, Dempsey, just as I say that, Matt Clark throws a massive block down low, and Enerson says, yeah, okay, nice one, I'm going to go through, and then Dempsey says, look at them going, just running up the racetrack, lets it run out. Fantastic. This is going to go absolutely down to the wire. Matt Clark, he can't help it, can he, Rob? He's like, okay, no more Mr. Nice Guy, I'm going for the lead.
Hey, listen, we're within 3 minutes here. Someone's got to figure out a way to take over the lead, or at least kind of start strategizing of how they're going to make that move on the last lap. Right now, Clark's still running the bottom as he has, but we've seen some really good pace out of R.C. Enerson, keeping that car a little bit higher up. Again, 11 degrees of banking here in turns number 1 and 2. You can run that high line a little more and get a really good run, but Enerson touching the wall. Enerson scrapes the right rear on the wall coming out of turn number 2. We'll see if that gives Clark the chance to roll through turns 3 and 4 with the lead. Again, as I said, coming down to just 2 minutes to go. Clark's hugging the bottom of the racetrack here, and the Canadian out front in that number 26 machine, but they'll crisscross. Peter Enerson back to the bottom.
Yeah, he's getting a absolutely fantastic move there from Enerson. Really read it well, and we've got somebody in the wall there at the back. Now, was that Peter Dempsey? It is. Peter Dempsey's in the wall.
Peter Dempsey, who is running there P3 into the wall. 2-driver battle. The leader's coming up on Gabi Chavez. He'll go to the top of the racetrack. Right behind them is Nate Aranda. He had that fast repair. Nate running in the, how far down is Nate? He's in the, I think, 14th position. He's the back out of this. Do not go to the bottom. Oh, Nate Aranda trying to go in with the leaders here right now. He's a lap back. So he goes to the bottom of the racetrack, Aranda potentially with fresher tires on a faster repair. And look at Ederson's trying to go back. I'm surprised race control is not radioed down to Aranda. That's the lead battle, dude. Get out of the way. Here's the replay again. I missed that there, guys. Sorry, I was watching that fight. But the replay there we saw of the incident, Peter, you can call it. I'm sure you were watching it.
Yeah, it looked to me that Peter Dempsey just got a little bit caught up there in the lap traffic. I think that was Sebastian Saavedra who was there. There is obviously quite a lot of traffic that's multiple laps down because of lots of incidents early on, and well, these guys are just going so quick compared to the rest, and well, that means it's going to be a two-car battle. And you saw on camera there, Peter Dempsey, he looked really quite upset. I don't know whether with himself or another driver, but yeah, he wasn't happy.
30 seconds remaining. We're coming down to the final lap. This could be the final lap actually right here, whether or not they maybe sneak through before we hit that 20-minute mark. Right now, the leader pretty impressive here as Matt Clark has that top spot. Can he hold back R.C. Ederson? Finally, Nate Aranda getting himself out of the championship scrap, this race win. Here goes Ederson to the bottom of the racetrack. We don't know whether this is going to be it. Ederson to the bottom. Here comes the over-under for Matt Clark. He'll go back to the bottom of the racetrack. Still 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think that may be it. I think that's the race there. It looked to me like they came right down to it. Peter, what do you think?
Oh, I think they've made it over. This is the last lap.
No
They're going to
way.
get another lap. Fantastic. Oh, they're banging into each other behind, but it's going to be Matt Clark. He's going to stick to the bottom, but look at Ederson up top.
Okay, they got him by one more. I thought it was going to be done. Clark still on the bottom of the racetrack. Ederson looking for a big run coming out of the corner. He'll get the over-under. Going to try the draft. Ederson to the outside. Clark to the inside. Who's going to take the opening race, the doubleheader? And it's R.C. Ederson with the win. Peter couldn't have asked for much more. Ederson, a veteran of both open wheel racing and as well of the iRacing platform. An over-under on Matt Clark, the margin the narrowest. Unbelievably close coming across the line. About, I want to say, 100th of a second. Peter R.C. Ederson with the win. Unbelievable, folks. When we get back after this quick break, we'll run through the results of race number 1 and try to speak with the race winner.
An important decision is afoot. This man is about to buy tires on TireRack.com. Tire Rack is the leading online retailer of tires in North America and a repository of advice and expert reviews. And it's done! All that's left is to arrange for safe, easy installation at one of our independent recommended installers. Well, I guess he did that too. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
As your uncle, I want you to know that on the road to life, there will be rough spots, and they will chew up your tires. I recently took a road trip to Greensville to attend a chili cook-off. Rough roads all the way down. I drove there on these Cooper Discoverer and Duramax tires. You know, they're made with the durability of off-road tires, but for on-road driving. Without them, we might never know the winning bean-to-meat ratio of a good chili. And those are the things in life, my friend, worth driving towards. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! I'm hungry now.
Welcome back to the virtual Worldwide Technology Raceway in Gateway as we have a look at the opening round, our first race of this doubleheader. R.C. Ederson winning by just 13 thousandths of a second over Matt Clark at the line. Wow, what a battle. Dalton Kellett and Tristan Vautier, the only two drivers to remain on the lead lap. So Kellett with a strong run there to the podium. Nikita Lastiskin and Connor Daly rounding out the 5th and 6th position. Peter, man, we could not have asked for a much better battle at the end of that one.
That was absolutely nail-biting. Absolutely superb from Ederson and Clark. I doff my cap to you both, and to Peter Dempsey, who was right there the whole time as well. Wow. Rob, was this your idea to get these guys all together? Because my goodness me, it's been exciting.
It's been great. This is what we wanted to see. As I said, the past, the present, and the future of the Road to Indy on display for us here. Drivers back out on track for a bit of a warm-up before we get rolling once again. It's been a tremendous way to start this. We're going to do it all over again. When we get back after this other quick break, folks, we'll give you an update on how we're dialing things in for the grid for race number 2, and we'll talk a little bit more about this racetrack.
An important decision is afoot. This man is about to buy tires on TireRack.com. Tire Rack is the leading online retailer of tires in North America and a repository of advice and expert reviews. And it's done! All that's left is to arrange for safe, easy installation at one of our independent recommended installers. Well, I guess he did that too. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Rickmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious eSports competitor, Rickmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, rickmotech.com.
Back at it here, folks, at Worldwide Technology Raceway, the inaugural Road to Indy eSeries All-Star Invitational, brought to you by TireRack.com and Cooper Tires. And again, drivers onto the racetrack here just to kind of dial things in, a little warm-up before we get things going once again. Let's have a look at the grid, because here's what we're doing. Peter, we did this throughout the eSeries, which I thought was fantastic. We take the finishing order of the first race, top 10 drivers invert. So if you end up finishing 10th, you end up starting on the pole position. So let's have a look once we get a chance to bring this up. We're going to wrap up this qualifying or this practice session first. But that's going to put our race winner, R.C. Enerson, and second place runner, Matt Clark, back on row number 5, Peter. This is a great way to make sure we light a bit of a match to the excitement on the evening.
Absolutely, they're going to have to be really, really careful in these opening laps and just pick their way through carefully. But I tell you what, Peter Dempsey, who of course was taken out in the latter stages of that race, he's going to start on the front row. He's going to start second. Michael Myers is going to start on pole. So tell you what, there's some big names in that top 10. Max Esterson, he's got a long way to come through the field. Of course, he was taken out a little bit early. He's going to start 11th as well. So maybe he can hook on to the back of Matt Clark and Enerson as well.
Indeed, Michael Myers will be on the pole alongside Peter Dempsey. Both drivers having trouble in the opening race, but if you give them open track, I think they're going to be running out front. Stefan Wilson showed us the speed he had. He'll start third alongside Oliver Askew, who was able to work his way up through the field as well. Connor Daly and Nikita Lastushkin on row number 3. Tristan Vautier will start alongside Dalton Kellett on row number 4. Again, they finished 4th and 3rd, respectively, in our first end of the doubleheader. Matt Clark and R.C. Enerson, that tremendous last lap battle that saw Enerson win by 13 thousandths of a second. They will be occupying row number 5. Clark on the inside in that number 26, Enerson on the outside in the 7. Capping off the top 12, as Peter had said, Max Esterson, our eSeries champion, in that number 80, starting 11th. Daniel Frost, Peter, starting in the 12th position.
Starting in 13th will be Benjamin Pedersen, and Aaron Thielitz will join him on row 7. Row 8 will be Dean Dibdell and Nate Aranda.
Let's move back to row number 9 now. Matthew Brabham, again, multi-time champion on the road to Indy, both USF 2000 and Indy Pro 2000 in successive years. He'll start 17th alongside Devlin DiFrancesco, runner-up and Rookie of the Year in Indy Pro 2000 last year. He'll move to Indy Lights this year with Andretti Steinbrenner Autosport. James Davison looking for some better luck. He'll start 19th alongside Sebastian Saavedra. On row number 11, Andrews Crone and Spencer Piggott. And row number 12, Bryson Morris and Gabby Chavez, two drivers who have shown good speed and will work to fight their way back. Peter getting set to go, coming down the back straightaway. Let's press the reset button and do it again.
We're off to go again. Another 20-minute dash here at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. It's going to be a thriller. Greg DeGeorgis in the pace car there, holding the field to nice and gently at the moment, but Peter Dempsey on the front row, you got to think he's going to want to get to the front quick and just try and control it.
And Michael Myers holding back the Lions right now. Dempsey, Wilson, Daly, Askew, Vautier, IndyCar drivers behind the young driver from USF 2000, Michael Myers, getting ready to punch off, working his way out of the final corner. Dempsey on the outside, the veteran. Myers going to roll onto the throttle. And we are back at it here, the second race, the doubleheader here at the All-Star Invitational. We are green at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And Myers will lead them down into turn number 1 and 2 for the first time. A couple drivers, 2, maybe 3 wide further back, and to take care of these Cooper tires, build a bit of heat. And there's a really good step up there. I believe that was Nikita Lastushkin, who kind of backed out a bit there as Tristan Vautier rolled up in front of him. Peter, you got to be smart on this opening lap and make sure you leave a little bit of a gap for drivers potentially changing lanes.
Look at that. Well, talking of Matt Clark going really down to the low line, and Max Esterson just sticking in his wheel tracks there, just trying to pass a way through, pick a fast guy and make the way through, work together. As they go around there, almost switching half a lane, which is always dangerous, isn't it? You can easily tangle a wheel in these cars. So easy for your whole race to be over in no time. And look how close they're going through there, Rob.
You know, Peter, I think people are hearing our voices as we kind of take a deep breath. We're kind of on the edge of our seats ourselves as we're calling this. You can see drivers kind of roll up on each other. We've done it before. We've done the iRacing, and we're getting a feel for, oh, there could be something coming here right now. But these drivers, again, so many professional drivers who have worked their way through the road to Indy. We're super proud of each and every one of them, whether they make it to the NTT IndyCar Series, into the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Challenge, into the Michelin Pilot Series, or guys like, James Davison and Connor Daly that are getting some opportunities to race as well in the NASCAR program, whether it's trucks, Xfinity, or in the Cup Series. We're really proud of what they can do, and this is what I'm loving, Peter. Look at this, 2-3 wide, change of lanes, up front, Peter Dempsey sliding into the lead. We've got ourselves a good race, a good couple of opening laps, which I think we were all hoping for.
Absolutely, yeah, a lot more steady on these opening laps, because it just needs the tiniest mistake, and it can kick off a huge wreck and really take sometimes as much as half the field out in the most extreme cases, but not so much this time, which is great to see. Matt Clark making his way forward diligently up to 9th place now, as well. Lastoshkin in 8th right now as well. But we got a couple of our alumni up the front. Oliver Askew, Stephen Wilson, Connor Daly, they're all up there as well. Of course, Dale, got a bit of action in behind there. That was Lastoshkin and Matt Clark, I think, having a real old weave on the straight. My goodness me, it was tight. But yeah, of course, Connor Daly involved in a bit of a tangle in the leading group last time around. So watch for him to challenge for this race win.
Lastoshkin having a bit of trouble there coming out of turn number 4, tapped the wall, and that allowed both R.C. Enerson and I believe Matt Clark to dive down the inside. Dempsey leading to the top part of the race. Like I was going to comment at one point there, Lastoshkin, he dived in one of the corners and got a really good run to tuck to the inside to be able to get a spot, but as you said, had a bit of a struggle there as he was battling with Daniel Frost. It's now Frost and Clark to the bottom of the racetrack, Enerson and Lastoshkin to the top, and right behind them is Max Esterson. Again, he's a veteran driver, folks. If you watched any of our TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries races, you saw just how good Max Esterson is. He's got an incredible ranking on iRacing and is a driver of one of the leading teams as well in the iRacing service, Vendaval. And this is the guy, Peter, we're not surprised he's showing a lot of patience here right now. Kind of maybe taking the opportunity to learn some of the drivers around him as well.
Absolutely, yeah, there is time. You've got plenty of time, and as we saw, Matt Clark in the last race really kept those life in his Cooper tyres and didn't take too many rests early on, as we see a little bit of bump drafting going on here between Wilson and Dempsey. Dempsey very much the locomotive on that train as they all flash through, and 10 altogether. Now, just an update from our stewards, Ryan Cobb and Johnny Unser, again taking no prisoners. Car 18, James Davidson, and car 17, Devlin Di Francesco, have been given a warning for blocking.
And you'll see that here. We've seen a number of drivers defend down to the bottom of the track coming on the back straightaway, and we've seen some really exciting racing here at Oliver Askew as well. He had to work his way from deep in the field after a not so stellar qualifying run and got himself up into the top 10 and has really put some pressure here as Wilson was going on Dempsey at the top part of the racetrack. Askew was going to the bottom. There's contact between two drivers coming on the back straightaway. That's one driver, the number 5 going around. I think Enerson might have been involved. That was Tristan Vautier. He got collected coming onto the back straightaway. Vautier falling down now into 17th position. Davison coming down as well. So a little bit of action further back. We've got more maybe inline running here now. Let's have a look potentially at the replay of that incident. We're going to be on board here with Vautier. You can see the contact there. And then more then it was Davison who got actually into the back of Vautier. He's upside down, virtually, thankfully, for Tristan Vautier into the pit lane for a fast repair to get back out there. But a number of drivers involved early on in incidents. Tristan Vautier, James Davison, Anders Krohn, Gabby Chavez, Spencer Piggott, Nate Aranda involved in early incidents now. Out front, though, Peter Dempsey still looking good, but look, here comes to the bottom. Connor Daly in the Ed Carpenter Racing Tatis PM18 Air Force machine, trying to run that low line. But Dempsey, hey Peter, he likes that top line.
I tell you what, he really does. And Peter Dempsey as well, he's so confident leading at the front. He's so happy to be there, and that's a man who's clearly got pace in hand. Just keeping it clever, and you can see him on board there. He was so unlucky to get taken out of race 1. He was taken out from behind by a back marker as well, which is just the worst possible way. So right on board with Michael Myers. I tell you what, I hope he's had his heavy right foot coffee this afternoon, Rob, to make sure he's full alert.
Let's keep it there if we can, guys. Back to the producer. Let's see if we can stay on board here with Michael Myers. It's a good look at this racetrack. I talked about how tight it is in turn 1 and 2. If we can get back to the in-car shot there. Let's look at the gear shifting, because it's 5th gear, 6th gear, and I believe in turn 1, I think they're all the way down to 4th gear. And it's so tight in turn number 1, you got to get the car settled in the right position. This can have it. See, down to P5, down to 5th gear, potentially 4th. No, he's going to roll 5th around the top. There's 4th there. So, Peter, a little bit different of a racetrack as an oval. It's not just one gear pinching it. You're having to make sure the car is positioned correctly so you can get down a couple of gears on the brakes into 1.
That's a fascinating insight, actually. Just shows you if you're one of these people who just said, oh, you just hold it flat and turn left. Well, you're just talking complete nonsense. As you can see there, you look at the throttle control at this racetrack as well, of what you've got to do to manage it, and of course just keep the life in the tyre, because if you use the tyres up too much, even in a race only 20 minutes long, you're really in a whole world of pain by the end. You saw that both Matt Clark and Enerson, RC Enerson, they really needed that life in the tyre for that last lap battle.
I just can't believe what we're seeing right now. This is the top 10, and they're running top line, midline, low line, back and forth, dive moves to the bottom, trying to get as much draft as they can. It's Dempsey, Daly, Wilson, Lastiskin, Frost, Esterson, Clark, Askew, Myers, and Kellett. That's your top 10. And there's contact within the top 10 in turn 1 and 2. 2 cars hard into the outside wall. Contact in that lead group. Drivers trying to roll through the turns 1 and 2. And make that 8 drivers now in the lead group, as I believe, trying to see which drivers potentially falling to the tail. That might actually been that might have been some lap traffic, Peter. I don't know if that was any of the drivers in the top 10.
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah, there was most of them, I think. I think we maybe lost Daniel Frost, who was in there leading, and
that Max Esterson.
Well, it's a good job that Esterson's already got the title. So.
That's true.
Yeah,
won $2,000 for winning that TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries. Not so good here. Well, we'll get a look at the replay here, folks, of that incident between Daniel Frost and Max Esterson. See if we can't talk it through here. They'll work their way into turn 1 and 2. We'll slow it down for you. And it looks like Frost potentially just lost the rear of the car, and I think that Esterson really had nowhere to go. The only way we'd know is to get an in-car shot from Esterson. But it looked to me like Frost may have just lost the rear end of the car.
Quite possibly. I think we are going to get a look on board from Esterson's car. So here we know this is that we're on board with Oliver Askew right now, but we will get a look at that from Esterson's point of view. 2 crashes in a row for Esterson. Be pleased to know that there's no ovals on the on the British Formula Ford calendar. There is a trip to Scotland though, which is nice. So here we go, Rob.
Yeah, let's say this now. Esterson's not the kind of guy that makes a lot of mistakes. Gets in crashes. You know what that looked like to me? Potentially, I think Esterson may have came up the track just a little bit, but I think Frost was coming back down the track a little bit. It just seems to me like potentially a racing incident as both drivers doing minor lane changes there, maybe even more with Frost coming down the track. What are your thoughts?
It certainly, I would agree with you. It was very much a 50-50 thing there. They just touched tyres. It just shows you that you don't need that aggressive a contact and woof, you're off. And of course it was a pretty violent incident there, as we see Matt Clark. Look at Matt Clark, here he comes. Well, started 9th on the grid, and he's up to look like he's going to hit the front here as Matt Clark on the bottom line runs up. Oh, this is side by side, down they go. Now who's that having a look down on the inside? That's Askew, look at Askew. Look at
There it is. Peter getting used to it. I like it. Oliver Askew, super aggressive at the bottom of the racetracks in the index and desk machine, number 38. Askew, of course, as we know, two-time champion, won both Indy Lights and USF 2000. And spent last year with Aero McLaren SP. We'll look to see him this year in a number of rides in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. But he's getting real aggressive at the bottom. There's more contact. That's the 69 of Lastishin. Lastishin getting together, and he went around. Hard impact to the inside of the front straightaway for Lastishin coming out of turn number 4. He'll press the reset button and try to get back out with a faster pair. But now we're down to just 7 drivers in this lead group. Dempsey, Daly, Askew, Clark, Myers, Kellett, and Stephen Wilson. That is now your top 7. And in fact, I think it's just top 6 right now. It's still top 7, unless one of those doors potentially a lap car in there as well.
Yeah, I think they're all in that lead group. It's pretty busy as they go 3 wide through up onto the banking there. My goodness.
I guess I'm saying that because I'm looking at Kellett at the tail of that group in the number 4 machine. Maybe they just have my live timing hasn't updated because it's Myers, Kellett, Askew, Clark, indeed in there. Connor Daly. Figure out, yeah, that's Gabby Chavez. Yeah, see, there's Chavez there in 17th. He's in the number 53 machine. So Gabby Chavez, who runs there behind Askew, a lap back because Stephen Wilson a bit further back there in the 7th spot. So we've got 6 lead lap drivers plus Gabby Chavez. Again, a Freedom 100 winner, IndyCar driver, will run this year with Brian Herta Autosport, as I said, in that machine with Herta. And
Hyundai touring car, isn't
I think it's exactly, he runs the Hyundai, exactly right, in the Michelin Pilot Challenge, I think, correct?
If that's correct, yeah. And I tell you what, is he and of course won the championship in it last year. But I tell you what, Gabby Chavez. That's massive! Oh my goodness.
That's Connor Daly. Connor Daly getting looped around. We got some major contact with Daly, and I think Kellett getting rolled into that one. A number of drivers getting together on the front straightaway, just a light touch, and then there were 4. Askew, Clark, Dempsey, and Myers. We've got an F1600 driver. We've got a USF 2000 driver. We got a team owner, and we got a driver who last year ran in the NTT IndyCar Series. Great cross-section here, but the contact there, taking a couple drivers out, Peter. Hate to see it happen for Connor Daly and Dalton Kellett.
Oh, that's two crashes as well for Connor Daly as well from the front group. You know, was in with a shot at the race win both times, but just not his night as we see Matt Clark going to the bottom. I tell you what, Matt Clark, well, they call him Jimmy. I'm very, very happy that he gets that nickname because we can claim a little bit of this fantastic performance. And, there was a driver already stopped on the bottom there and he caught it up.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I tried to pick that up. I'm not sure what happened there. All we know is the car all of a sudden went from driver's right to left. Let's have another look at it. We get a full screen of it too. That'd be great. We still have quite a bit of time here, I believe, in this one. We'll have another look at it here. And again, seeing an incident to report there for the number 14 of Aaron T. That's getting a drive-through penalty. We'll have another look at this if we possibly can and get a good shot at it. This is back on board here with Oliver Askew. This is that fight up front. The 4 drivers scrapping away. Oliver Askew to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll take the lead right now. Dempsey right there on the bottom. Again, on top is Matt Clark and Michael Myers kind of watching what's happening further back into a bit of a fight here. And again, some pretty crazy incidents here. We've seen a lot along throughout this race. Connor Daly, as we said, here it is right here. There's Daly on the top of the racetrack there. He'll go to the bottom. Daly across the bottom of the track here. What happened is they came. Kellett's right behind him. All of a sudden, Kellett goes to the bottom of the racetrack. All of a sudden, Daly's car just turns flat left, like maybe something happened with the steering wheel, the wheel potentially. Could be an equipment malfunction because the car just, Peter, turns straight left.
I wonder if the number 4 car of Dalton Kellett made the ever so slightest contact to the rear, and that sent Connor Daly around. The only other explanation might be is that tiny little bit of netcode contact, which you can sometimes get. There's that little discrepancy. We haven't seen really any problems with that so far today, but it might have been. It was such a marginal thing, but of course these guys, they're traveling at such high speed that a light touch translates into a very big one.
Looking at the back here of Oliver Askew in the Tatis PM18, the car that we run in the Indy Pro 2000 Championship presented by Cooper Tires on the road to Indy. We're watching this tremendous battle for the lead right now. Dempsey, Clark, Askew. That's your top three. The driver there in P4, actually further back, that's Gabby Chavez, a couple laps back right now. Chavez running in the 15th position. So really a three-driver battle as Michael Myers has fallen away from this lead group. So it's Clark, Dempsey, and Askew. And what a cross-section, right? We've got the young Canadian, 16 years of age, F1600 champ. We're going to go run F4 this year with a sight on USF 2000 2022. You got Peter Dempsey. So many Formula 4 championships, as we talked about. The Freedom 100 race win. He's a team owner in the Road to Indy, and obviously a heck of an iRacer. And then you got Oliver Askew, who's one of the winningest drivers in Road to Indy history, and was our most recent Indy Lights champion to get the scholarship to go to IndyCar. This is the cross section we were hoping for. 4 minutes to go.
It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I wonder how many tricks Matt Clark's picking up from Peter Dempsey here. I bet he's picking up a few. Because I tell you what, to win that many Formula 4 titles, you don't do that without being street smart. My goodness me. So we see, but Matt Clark, look at that drive off the corner there in that 26 car. And here goes Askew again, 3 wide. How'd you like it? Goodness me. Wow, fantastic.
Well, again, one of the key things we saw there, Matt Clark, of course, having to go to school as R.C. Enerson was able to pull the over-under coming out of turn 3 and 4 to just nip him at the line by 13 thousandths of a second. Clark will have that in his mind. Where do I need to be here right now? But not quite as easy. It's not just a two-driver battle, as Oliver Askew's put himself in the middle of the fight as well. Oliver was hoping to be in Sebring here today. Last minute able to get on a sim and join us here for this All-Star Invitational. Here comes Askew, looking at the bottom of the racetrack, thinking about it in turn 1. But the car will wash up the racetrack a little bit, Peter. That's going to give Dempsey about maybe 2 or 3 car lengths coming down the back chute with just 3 to go.
What Dempsey's looking very, very strong here. Just seems like whatever gets thrown at him, he's got an answer for it. But as we said in race 1, Rob, if he's been the one doing the heavy lifting, he's having to really push hard at the front. He's the one that's having to defend, and you just wonder if he's going to have enough life. But well, look at Matt Clark. He's got a great run down to the bottom line. Does Dempsey throw the block? No, he's going to try and hook it up the high line. And as you said, Rob, Dempsey seems to be the guy who can make the high line work the best.
Yeah, probably looking at around 4 or 5 laps remaining in our second end of the doubleheader here. And what a race we've got. This is a tremendous scrap. And as you said, Peter Dempsey really using the racetrack. He'll come down to the bottom as he did there, coming through turns 3 and 4. But when he needs to, when he gets pressured to the bottom, he'll let that car drift up a little bit. There's Peter Dempsey on the right side of the screen alongside Michael Myers, who runs in the 4th position. This time, Dempsey to the bottom of the racetrack. Got to keep everybody thinking. Askew now into 2nd spot. Clark back into 3rd. Big run here for Askew. We're on board with Oliver. He'll go to the bottom into turn number 3. Check a new leader. Here with just a couple laps remaining, Oliver Askew drifts it up a little bit. And Gabby Chavez, Peter's still in there. He's a lap back, but he just wants to make sure he's got some TV screen time. Couple laps down, might as well stay with the leaders.
Oh, Gabby Chavez has been running with these guys the whole time. He's well, we should give him a job as a cameraman, because he'd be doing a great job keeping an eye on this battle. You can see him there. Oh, as Askew now goes to the bottom, then I think Dempsey's maybe just running out of grip slightly. He's moving up the racetrack a little bit more. Matt Clark's going to try and go down low. We've seen him able to run the bottom line really well. Dempsey up high. Oh, they're all going to come and yo-yo back together again, but it looks like it's going to be Askew. It's going to be Clark into turn 1 they go, and Matt Clark's got a strong run on the bottom line again, and there he goes.
2 or 3 laps remaining, depending on when we come back across the line. You can see that Clark on the inside of Askew coming down through turns 2, 3, and 4, making sure he had a little bit of a wing down there to not get that aero wash. He's going to get a challenge here from Askew. He'll go to the bottom now in turn number 3. This will be a big run for Dempsey to get down to the bottom as Clark chases that car up the racetrack a little bit. Not quite able to do the over-under as Dempsey's right there as they come across the line. I think we're going to get 2 more laps. Indeed, 30 seconds still to go. Couple more laps. Dempsey to the bottom of the racetrack. Book it. He'll go to the lead. This time, an over-under. The diamond into the corner for Clark. He'll go to the bottom. Look at Dempsey pushing him all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack. Dempsey full defense. Chavez there to watch what's happening. Askew's going to go to the top of the racetrack. Clark back to the bottom, but the car wiggles a bit mid-corner. He gets on the rumbles at the bottom of the racetrack. 3 wide, coming out of the front straightaway. Final lap here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Askew leads him into turn 1.
Wow, this is an absolute thrilling conclusion to this Road to Indy eSeries All-Star Invitational. At the moment, it's Askew who's got it, but Dempsey's not going to let him have it easy. Dempsey's got a bit of a run. He's going to go up to his preferred highline. They're going to go 3 wide for the win. Big bang wheels, Askew and Clark, but it's going to come down to, looks like Askew and Dempsey, Rob.
Coming out of the final quarter right now, Clark's getting blocked up in the back. Askew with the run. Dempsey to the high side. Coming across the line. Here goes Clark. 3 wide across the line. Askew with the win. All over Askew. Victorious at Worldwide Technology Raceway, the second end of the All-Star Invitational. The guys are celebrating, throwing the cars into the wall. You don't do that in real life, ladies and gentlemen, because that's thousands and thousands of dollars. But here on the iRacing service, a little more relaxed, folks. What a tremendous battle. Oliver Askew winning by 17 thousandths of a second, 30 thousandths of a second, the total gap between our leaders in both races here on the All-Star Invitational. Askew with the win, Peter Dempsey in second, and Matt Clark, a couple of podiums, comes home in third. And after we come back from this break, we're going to talk to as many drivers as we possibly can.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Rickmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Expert support. Rickmotech has you covered. There's only one place to go. rickmotech.com.
Your great-grandma used to tell Uncle Cooper the best stories, like Goldilocks and the Cooper tires. The Coopers are just right. Goldie's no sucker. What a lady. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Welcome back to the Cooper Tire broadcast booth here at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. Rob Howden alongside Peter Mackay. And Peter, I'm sure you're the same as me. I'm taking a deep breath. I grabbed a sip of water. When we put this concept together to have our Road to Indy graduates go head-to-head with the top 5 drivers from the eSeries this year, this is what we were hoping for, this kind of racing. That's why we picked an oval as well here at Gateway. Wow. Say a couple words because I got to catch my breath. That was awesome.
Well, it absolutely was, yeah. Really superb. And Oliver Askew, wow, what a finish under the most incredible pressure. Peter Dempsey was right there the whole time. And look at that gap, 15 thousandths of a second. I think race 1 was 17 thousandths of a second. So absolutely incredible. And Matt Clark, now Matt Clark, the only driver tonight to get on the podium in both races. And I think he deserves a big, big congratulations for that.
Well, if we're given an overall winner on the night, it would definitely be Matt Clark. A tremendous run, as you said, second in the first race, third in race 2. Here's your results, though, from our main event here, the second race of the doubleheader. Oliver Askew with that win, a 3-wide finish, 51 thousandths of a second, separating the top 3 as they came across the line. Oliver Askew, Peter Dempsey, and Matt Clark. Sebastian Saavedra, a much better run in race number 2 as he ends up P4, and Michael Myers, so rounding out the top 5. A great night, a great eSeries all total for Michael Myers. Stephen Wilson coming home in 6th. 7th was R.C. Enerson, the winner from race 1. Matt Brabham rounding out the drivers, finishing on the lead lap in 8th. Bryson Morris coming from the very tail of the field to work his way up to 9th. And Dean Dibdahl, our WKA karting driver, a top 10 finish. Pretty good run for him as well, Peter.
Absolutely, so yeah, really, really good. I mean, Dean Dibdahl has been so impressive throughout this Road to Indy TireRack.com eSeries, I have to say. He has been super. It's great to see him out there running with the big guys tonight.
Well, we've got a guy coming to join us now in the Cooper Tire broadcast booth. Peter Dempsey, congratulations on what was a wild night all around. You were up front all evening. You end up having trouble in the first race. You go back to 10th. It gives you the pole, the off pole for race 2. Just tell me, was it a lot of fun out there? Let's start with that.
Absolutely, you know, beats being at the workshop. I get to get a bit of a break and come play with the lads, and obviously huge thanks to you guys for putting the time and effort. 2 great races I had, to be honest, been out front for both of them, unfortunately. Seb got caught out with a rookie error racing with the leaders in race 1, but he had a bit of redemption there in the second race, coming from the back to fourth.
Peter, we're watching, of course, right now as well on your video. So give us a little look over to your left there. Yeah, there he is, Peter Dempsey in the sim. Listen, tremendous racing. How much of that race were you kind of just feeling out the guys around you and trying to figure out where you needed to be on the last lap to get the win?
Really, the main goal for me was to stay out front and just try to stay out of trouble. Like, if you're out front, you have a less chance of getting taken out. And to be fair, I was working really well with Stefan, giving me a bit of a bump draft, and then also working with Connor for a bit. He got collected, I think, with some net code there with Dalton. So, you know, then it was a bit weird there at the end. Askew's car looked like it was bent, so I was trying to stay away from it, to be honest, hoping I might get a bit of a better run to the line. But, you know, props to the three of us there at the end. Mac drove great, hanging there with us, no problem. So certainly a star of the future.
Well, Peter, we really appreciate you joining us, man, just to be able to look at this field, right? All these Road to Indy graduates. It was amazing. Obviously, you with the Freedom 100 win, all the success you've had through your career. But you look at this grid. What a tremendous one we had. It was amazing.
Absolutely, you know, and huge thanks to all the drivers, you know, for making the effort in and getting some star names out here and allowing the young kids to interact with the IndyCar drivers today. So great show. Hopefully it's a bit of entertainment. 2 good races at the front anyway. So looking forward to the next time.
Peter, thank you so much, man. Congratulations.
Hey, lads. Thanks.
Excellent job for Peter Dempsey there, folks. And remember, don't go anywhere. We're going to, of course, go off of Rev TV in a little bit, but we do have our post-race show, so make sure you stay at whatever platform you are. Peter, I'm going to pass you over to this one because I know you like Jimmy Clark, and I know you become a big fan of this kid. Second in the first race, third in race number 2, you're standing by with Matt Clark.
I am indeed. Matt Clark, if I could, I'd give you a big pat in the back. You gave us a show tonight. How are you feeling?
Thank you, Peter. That was just insane. That was some of the best racing I think we've had this entire eSeries, and I'm really happy that I could bring home some good results. I owe all my success to Hinch, actually, because we were on practicing earlier today, so he taught me all his secrets.
Oh, I'm sure he can teach you some bad habits as well, I'm sure. That was, wow. Wow, fantastic. What a guy to pick from. I mean, Mac, you were the only guy tonight to finish on the podium in both races. And you know what? For me, that's been it feels like it's kind of been in the works the whole series. There's always been something happen to you through the E-Series. You've not had the run of things, but was that nice tonight to just get 2 clean runs?
It feels like a great way to close off the season. Like you said, I've had, you know, issues in either one race or the other, and to finally, you know, put the Ganello car on the podium 2 times in a row feels amazing.
I bet it does. Now, I know you were down in the States doing some testing and stuff like that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'm super excited to announce that I'm going to be running the F4 US Championship, the whole official series with Ernie and Ernie Ganello Racing. And I'm just really looking forward to starting that off at Road Atlanta. My partnership with Speed Group also got announced a few weeks ago, so we're starting off 2021 strong.
It's all going on. It's all going on. And Road Atlanta and an F4 car. Have you driven down at Road Atlanta before?
Only on the sim, so I'm excited to actually get there and get to feel things. It kind of, you know, is reminiscent of Mosport, what we have up here in Canada. Very high speed, very technical, so I couldn't be more excited to get down there in that F4 car and see how it feels myself.
Oh wow! Well, I'm so pleased for you. Delighted to hear the news, Mac. Thanks so much for taking part in this TireRack.com Road to Indy E-Series. You've put on a great show for us. But before we let you go, who would you like to give a shout out to here on Rev TV?
A big shout out to the entire Road to Indy organization for letting me compete. Of course, you, Peter, and Rob Howden, as well as my supporters for the 2021 season, MIR Race on USA, Bell Helmets, and Second Skin. And a big thank you to my family who's watching me downstairs right now.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks so much, Mac, and all the best for the 2021 season.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter.
Well, Peter, well-spoken young man there, and a great chance to talk to Peter Dempsey as well. I think a long career coming for Matt Clark. But the bottom line is, we obviously are going to go after this break into the remainder of the post-race show. But man, just to kind of wrap things up, those were 2 tremendous races. We did have some incidents here and there, but man, the racing all in all was just really good up front.
I tell you what, if that doesn't get your pulse racing, then, well, you maybe need to go to the doctor, because My word, that was just so exciting, and like you said, Rob, the combination of guys that are different stages in their career. Oliver Askew in the IndyCar series, Peter Dempsey is multiple Formula Ford champion, now team owner, and Mac on his way up to the road to Indy, and all racing absolutely wheel to wheel. Just a real pleasure to be involved in and see that unfold.
No doubt about it. Now, race fans, that will wrap up our Rev TV coverage of this year's TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries presented by Cooper Tires and our inaugural All-Star Invitational. If you're watching live on one of the other platforms, stick around because we do still have the post-race show. Kudos again to tonight's winners, R.C. Enerson and Oliver Askew. We were treated to a pair of tremendous races tonight at the virtual Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway, and I don't think we really should be that surprised because we brought together at a tremendous level of Road to Indy talent. As we sign off from Rev TV, we'll take the opportunity to wish our Canadian race fans the very best, and we hope to get to see a chance to connect with you and the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires when we visit the Honda Indy Toronto in July. It's been a tremendous opportunity to be able to bring this racing to Rev TV, so thank you so much for watching. On behalf of everyone from the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires, Apex Racing TV, and my broadcast partner, Peter Mackay, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.
I recently took a road trip to Greensville to attend a chili cook-off. Rough roads all the way down. I drove there on these Cooper Discoverer and Duramax tires. Without them, we might never know the winning bean-to-meat ratio of a good chili. So go with the Coopers. Cooper!
So, we buy shoes online, and socks, and shoe socks, and baby food, dog food, parrot food, gardening tools, art supplies, college classes, scarf, the scarf tube, sleeping bag suit? Yeah. So why not buy tires online? TireRack.com is North America's largest online retailer of tires. Find, buy, then have them shipped to one of our trusted independent installers for safe, easy installation. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. Online, with all that other stuff.
Your great-grandma used to tell Uncle Cooper the best stories, like Goldilocks and the Cooper tires.
The Coopers are just right. Goldie's no sucker.
What a lady. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Welcome back to Worldwide Technology at Gateway. My name's Rob Howden alongside Peter Mackay, and you're here for our post-race show for the 2021 All-Star Invitational, all part of the TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries, the inaugural running of this event. And we had a fantastic doubleheader here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. It's such a tremendous racetrack for sure. We've got a couple people that we're still going to bring on, some of our other drivers that are involved. I know that I believe Oliver Askew getting himself dialed in. We'll get race 2 winner up here momentarily as well. Let's start with the driver, though, coming home P4 here today. A very late entry. We got it put together this afternoon. Sebastian Saavedra, thank you so much for joining us here in the Cooper Tire broadcast booth, dude. Not so much fun in race 1, really fun in race number 2.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for the invite. Very last minute. But of course, we're here for the show and to actually get a little bit of laps on these weird times that we live in. But I had a blast. I'm not a big sim gamer. Probably a handful of races so far, but just getting the handle of it.
Well, when you messaged me, I'm like, this is perfect because obviously I had a chance to watch you come up through your karting days, but a lot of fun as well in the Indy Lights program. You did a lot of Indy Lights racing and had a lot of success there as well. Then, of course, moved on to run in the NTT IndyCar Series and in the Indy 500 as well. Let's give you an opportunity. Are you working on anything, getting back into the car this year? What's happening for 2021?
Definitely, Rob. It's a never-ending work, and it's something that we continues to push forward. Of course, getting a little bit more in the outside world and being a little bit of an entrepreneur and such. But racing is in my blood until I'm probably 65. So definitely, it's a lot of things in the work. Definitely want to get back to IndyCar. Lots of things in sports cars, which I had a lot of fun as well, racing there. But yeah, my heart is IndyCar. It's always been.
Let's have a little quick note on this evening here. Obviously, you said you don't do a lot of sim racing. You're kind of getting comfortable with the first race into the second race. How did the car feel? We haven't really talked about too many guys. Was the car fairly loose? Did it come in mid-race? How did the car transition throughout the 20 minutes?
It was very interesting pace, just 3 and 4 was very neutral, kind of on the loose side. 1 and 2, you had to really work a very nice entry line in order to not get so much understeer. On the exit of 1, getting lots of understeer on 2. So very different from end to end. But it made it very fun. You know, you had to really time your passes. You really had to work the outside line as well as the inside line, which both are very, very different. And a few 3 whites that I was thinking that was not going to be it, but I had a blast. I had a blast.
Well, Sebastian, we appreciate you coming and joining us. This is going to be something we're going to be doing every year. We'd love to have you back again in 2022. But hey, congrats on a strong run to P4 in race 2.
Thank you guys. Thanks for the invite. Sorry for the last minute, and you know what? Let's make it happen. Just let
I
me
love
know.
it.
You guys have a good one.
Yeah, Sebastian Cervedra, folks, one of the great guys in the paddock, and I said I've been had a pleasure to watch him work his way up through the ranks from his karting days back, running the Stars of Karting series and the JICA class, all the way through everything he did to work his way to the NTT IndyCar series. Peter, right now, still waiting. We're hoping to get, I believe, Oliver Askew coming in here as well. While we wait for Oliver to dial things in, actually, no, hey, we got Oliver. We actually have Oliver with us right now. Peter, I'll give you a chance to talk to Oliver Askew.
Okay, Oliver, it's Peter here in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you. How are you?
I'm very well. Well, I more importantly, how are you? That looked like an absolutely chaotic race.
It was insane. It's the iRacing special on any oval. Really, they're all exciting races, and yeah, honestly, didn't think I was going to be in a position to win that one after I qualified like second to last, and obviously made it to the final to start fourth. And then yeah, it was an amazing race. I really enjoyed it. Honestly, get a little bit more excited and nervous for doing one of these things than in real life. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Well, that funnily enough, that was going to be my next question. Of course, you've raced at the very highest level of single-seater racing in the NTT IndyCar series, finishing on the podium, etc. Just tell us about the comparison of doing a race like this in the sim compared to what it's like being in the heat of the pack in the NTT IndyCar series.
Yeah, there's obviously a little bit more going on in real life, so I don't think you have time to get anxious or nervous. Once the engines fire and you're out there experiencing those G-forces, you're just ultra focused. This is a little bit more laid back and fun. I was on a Discord with Connor Daly, Spencer Piggott, RC Anderson, Aaron Thielitz, and we're just all having a good time, having some laughs. So no, it was amazing. Really enjoyed that one. Sucks Connor got knocked out there before the end. We were joking with each other, trying to shake and bake there.
I did see a lot of bump drafting going on, which I thought that's got to take a bit of cooperation as well in these cars. Now, Oliver, I want to talk about your thoughts on young Mac Clark, because obviously you've reached the top of the sport, but Mac's very much on his way up. But you've raced wheel to wheel with him today. What did you make of the young man's performance?
Honestly, I don't know who I was around, but yeah, I mean, if he was up there in the top 5, I mean, that's quite impressive for not having the experience. So yeah, best of luck to him on his road to Indy.
Absolutely. Now, finally, Oliver, I've just having a look at your results here, and I see it, LMP3 class winner at the Daytona 24 Hours, or I should say the Rolex 24 Hours at Daytona. So, have you been wearing your shiny new watch?
Oh yeah, looking to get a couple more as well. It was the first Rolex 24 that I've done, and the first endurance race that I've done. And I definitely want to go back. I mean, I had such a good time there with the guys at Riley Motorsports and 74 Ranch. So really want to go back and win some more watches for sure. That's the best trophy to win.
It's a trophy you can carry with you every day, which is always nice. Oliver, while we have you here, and also thank you so much for for downloading our audio program so we can have you on the show. But before we let you go, who would you like to say hello to here live on Apex Racing TV?
Yeah, everyone watching and listening. Hope you enjoyed that one. It was quite exciting. Obviously, my friends at Cooper Tires and the Road to Indy for putting this together. I honestly haven't done an iRacing event probably since our IndyCar league. So it was good to get back on here. And also want to shout out Cape Motorsports. I texted them before I registered here, and I put the team name.
I see that.
Yeah, I put Cape Motorsports as the team name. They're like, oh yeah, we'd love for you to put us down on there. So I hope they're watching. I hope they love that, and shout out my mom and dad as well.
Fantastic stuff. Oliver, thanks so much for coming to join us in this All-Star Invitational, and congratulations on a fantastic win there in race 2.
Thank you very much.
Well, Peter, I'll tell you, interesting, Oliver Askew, we're talking about both Oliver Askew and Matt Clark. And although Oliver, of course, way farther down the road in his career than Mac, both those drivers have one thing in common. They actually both raced for a major karting team called PSL Karting out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So they both raced the Burrell chassis for PSL Karting, just different places in their careers right now. And it's cool again, right? What do we talk about? Get a chance for these guys to go head-to-head. A guy like Matt Clark, who's just working his way up into the car ranks, to go head-to-head with a guy with time in the NTT IndyCar Series and a guy that's already won at the Rolex 24.
Absolutely, and I think that shows you the adaptability that Oliver Askew has as well. I mean, to not having done much sim racing for such a long time and to jump into a prototype sports car, a sim racing event, or into his NTT IndyCar. But absolutely, I think there's also it's great to see that shared camaraderie between the drivers, because of course Oliver will know he's been in Mac's shoes and he knows what it's like and he knows how tough it is. You do not get to the top level of racing. To be honest, you don't even climb onto the ladder in the first place without being seriously special. So that was an absolute privilege to watch these guys go head-to-head together at different stages in their racing lives.
Peter, good opportunity for us to kind of give our summations of the entire TireRack.com Road to Indy eSeries. We had some wild action the first couple of races, Road America, of course, Detroit, and Iowa Speedway. Things calmed down a little bit for WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, and then, of course, our finale at Mid-Ohio. But we really saw some drivers kind of come to the forefront, didn't we? Max Esterson showed what he has. Braden Eves. I think Matt Clark totally had us shaking and baking quite a bit there. He was really impressive. Bryson Morris had some good runs. Keon Tandem was a driver who really impressed me coming in at Detroit, having missed the first race. I just thought overall, for this particular edition of our eSeries, looking forward to what we're going to do later on in the year of 2022, we had some great action at every one of our venues.
We really did, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned Keon Tandem, because he was another guy. He really impressed me with his consistency as well. And what's brilliant is that it brings also drivers who to the attention any time you can get on TV or get on the track at all and be out there. It brings you to the attention of new people and new fans potentially. And tell you what, I'll be rooting for all these guys this season, and particularly, of course, young Max Esterson, who's coming over to race here in the UK, and he's going to be racing at my local track at Knockhill, and I'll be behind the microphone. And I tell you what, that's a privilege for me.
I like that connection. Obviously, you called some of his races here in iRacing in the virtual world. You get a chance to do it at Knockhill. That's tremendous. Another driver I just want to give a shout out to, because really a strong overall in all 6 of these races. Michael Myers in the heavy right foot coffee machine, number 24. Really hope we get him back at USF 2000 this year. But here's a guy, Peter, that has really leveraged what iRacing has to offer. Doesn't have the budget to get a lot of testing in, but he's been on that sim so much, and we've seen what he's been able to do. There's a maturity there in his racing here in iRacing and part of the eSeries. I think that's going to transition when we go outdoor racing again.
I completely agree with you. I think it's very easy to write sim racing off and just say that it's not important. But Michael's gone, right, okay, there's a negative here that's I can't quite get the budget together to go and race right now. But if I can make noises in the sim, and if I can, there's a lot of sim racing events that pay prize money. and prize money can put you back in the outdoor race car, as you say. So it's been fantastic to see Michael Myers' tenacity on track. He's been unbelievable, and always great to chat to when we had him in the commentary box, and really rooting for him and his family and the whole Heavy Right Foot Coffee team to get out on track. And I think he's doing exactly the right thing by using the sim as a route to do that.
Peter, we saw a lot of drivers coming from deep in the field to work their way forward, but in the end, our Seybelt hard charger, the driver with the most moves coming up through the field, came back in race number 1, Tristan Vautier, who of course will run this year with JDC Miller Motorsports in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Challenge. He is our hard charger. Good run in the opening race of the doubleheader.
Oh, fantastic stuff from Tristan. And I tell you what, he'll need those Seybelt gloves, because manhandling that Cadillac DPI that he races in IMSA, he must wear them out pretty quick.
Indeed, folks, that's going to wrap things up here from Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. An amazing evening here. Our first ever All-Star Invitational. Big shout out to TireRack.com and Cooper Tires for being our presenting sponsors of our program throughout the entire E-Series. Peter, I'll say to you, fantastic. We had a chance to work together a little bit on a couple of the other Apex Racing TV productions during the COVID-19 lockdown. I was excited when you came and joined us here. You and I, of course, throughout the entire E-Series. It's been an absolute pleasure.
The pleasure has been all mine, Rob, and thank you for letting me take the Bookit trademark for a test drive as well. It was thrilling.
Feels good, doesn't it? Feels good, doesn't it?
It feels fantastic. Yeah, no, it's been an absolute joy and a privilege to be involved in this Road to Indy E-Series, and yeah, I just really appreciate the invitation.
We'll give a shout out again to everybody that put so much time into this, as well as we know Kevin Ford from Extreme Motorsports. Obviously, huge thanks to him as well. Big thank you to Tammy Valkoski from the Road to Indy, our Director of Communications. Tireless work behind the scenes to put this thing together. Big thank you, of course, to all our Road to Indy graduates who came to run with us as well. And a shout out to everybody in the production, Alex Simpson, Dennis Branch, Lee Thompson, of course, Peter, you as well. Thank you so much. And folks, thank you to you who tuned in to watch this entire E-Series and, of course, this thrilling inaugural All-Star Invitational. That's going to cap things off for this evening, folks, from Worldwide Technology Raceway. My name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.
An important decision is afoot. This man is about to buy tires on TireRack.com. Tire Rack is the leading online retailer of tires in North America and a repository of advice and expert reviews. And it's done! All that's left is to arrange for safe, easy installation at one of our independent recommended installers. Well, I guess he did that too. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.